First of all, I want to thank all of you for having me here, and it's a great pleasure to be able to share something about body language. It just since it's going to be a short one, so I will try to make a shorter one as well. But body language is one of the most important element when it comes to speech, not just in um, contest, but of course contest uh, a lot of percentage will be on your body language. So your body is your delivery system. When you have your script, then you need to deliver that message. So how do you do it? It's your body. So it is about creating a moment of a constant moment of connection with your audience. So it is your ability to do that. You need to have the kind of ability to do that. And 60% of your communication is actually nonverbal. So sometimes words don't mean a thing, because 60% of your communication is actually nonverbal. It's facial expression. If you're angry, people will know when you're angry, and you don't have to speak a word. People know that you're sad, and you don't have to speak a word. People can read it from your face, from your gestures. So that is why 60% of the communication is actually nonverbal. So one of the things about body language is I want to start with something that I learned from an actress, Helen Mirren, if you know her. Now, she said that any actors that go on stage, they are probably do something that is considered one of the very difficult things to do, and that is walk on stage as yourself. Because sometimes when you go on stage, it is very hard to be natural because all eyes are on you. So that is one of the most difficult thing to do, is to be yourself on stage. So what I'm going to share with you today is just a few things that I would consider that I believe that you could use it when you go on stage. And just keep in mind that whatever you do on stage, you are there to deliver something, and your body is just a delivery system, an instrument. And so what you need to take note is your hand gestures, your facial expressions, your eye contact. They're all very important. So one of the things that I would like to share is the settings of your the settings and the place you're in. It could be in person, which is a physical stage, or it can be a virtual stage. Because these two, now let's face it, we're on a virtual stage now. These two is inseparable already in this time. We have to use both ways. And these two settings demand different methods in trying to connect with the audience. Because, as I said, communication is all about connecting with the audience, and your body is your instrument to connect. So let's say when you're in person, you're on a very big stage. So I was in theater before, and in theater, I learned one of the most important things, because when I started, it was very awkward for me. I was told by the director that when you're on stage, the stage, there are three parts, which is the side of the stage, the middle of the stage, and also the side of the stage. And how do you use this stage? It depends on your animation and how do you want to deliver those speech. So you have to use all these three. In other words, you have to own that stage. And when you're in a big stage, you can use big gestures. You can have big body language. And the reason being is because you want people to see you. Because when you're on a very big stage and a very big hall, if you just have a very small gesture, nobody can see you. People can listen to your voice, but they need to see your gestures. So when let's say you want to deliver a point, of course you want to start with the middle. And when you're in the middle, slowly, if you want to go to the second point, then you go slowly to the side. So when you do that, you're addressing the whole audience. So, and you know that you have a structure in your speech. So that is when you're in person. When you're on a virtual stage, as I said, it demands different way of connecting. A virtual stage like this, it's a close-up. People can see you. So you don't need a big gestures. Yeah, when you go on stage and when you're competing on a speech contest, when you're online, it's very awkward when you're on a virtual stage and you do too much gestures because it doesn't seem natural. You need to have some gestures, yes, but it's a different way of connecting. Virtual stage, people see you very closely. And that means you need to have facial expression. And so everything that you do, I always remind people, everything that you do must serve its purpose. You don't do it for the sake of doing it, right? And you need to learn on a virtual stage. It's different when you speak on compared to when you speak on a physical stage. On a virtual stage, you need to learn how to speak to the camera. Because if you can, one of the most difficult things to do on a virtual stage is how do you connect with the audience? Because it's a screen. You cannot see them. You don't know how they react. So it takes skills. So when people say, I don't like going on Zoom and competing on Zoom, then there should be a change of mindset. Because if you can connect the audience virtually, you can connect with the audience on stage. Because it will take different method, different skills. Right? So on a virtual stage, you need to learn how to speak to the camera, how to speak to the lens and connect with the audience. And I learned this from, I forgot his name, but it's one of the great storyteller. Is one of the tips that he gave in speaking to the audience virtually is when you look through the lens, you imagine that you listen to you imagine that you're actually talking to one person. Let's say you want to tell this speech, this very important speech to the audience, right? So you think of that one person who will be benefit from that, maybe your friend. So imagine you're talking to this person. So in your head, it plays in your head that you're talking to somebody. So that's how you try to connect. That is how when I go on stage virtually, I imagine that I'm speaking to you now, but on during contest, you cannot see anybody, only yourself and the timer. So you have to be able to imagine that. So the second thing, once you know that you're setting, you have a setting. Now you go to your script, right? As I said, everything you do serve a purpose. When you come to body language, you must use that script. It all starts with the script, right? You must use that script to decide what kind of body language you want to use, so that that message can come out. Like for me, when I writing my script, because I have the structure, everything has to be planned. I labeled this script. Like when I write my scripts, I don't write on essay styles. I write like a poem style, so that I know that this part should be funny, this part should be sad, this part should be melancholy. So I know the body language that I should use, what kind of voice that I should use, what kind of gestures that I should use. So that is what I meant when everything you do on stage must serve its purpose. Don't do it for the sake of doing it. It's very funny when you do it just for the sake of doing it. And when it comes to hand gestures is to emphasize a point. You can point, you can cross your arms, and don't put your hands in your pocket, which I tend to do that on a physical stage, because I'm always nervous. People always baffled why I'm still nervous in front of the people. Yes, I still feel nervous when I speak in front of the audience. So that is hand gestures. And I've touched on eye contact as well. And just to conclude, when my way of giving a speech is that there are things that you can follow. The script is always structured, and make sure that everything that I say you will follow. And it's the same thing with the body language. There must be a structure. So to end this, I just want to share that body language is all about animation. People read your energy. So you need to bring that kind of energy to the audience, and people pick up that energy. And just think of that. You are animating a character. So it has to be animated, whether virtually or in person. So, and most important thing is, when it comes to body language, is your ability to reach out to them and draw them in. That is how you use your body language in your speech. So that is my sharing today. And over to you, Toastmaster Yumi.